Hey guys, IcyCat here once again, bringing you the latest news on Rainbow Six. Last week I was invited out to San Francisco for the media-only preview event. This was a sneak peek at the full scope of the game with all modes, including single player, as well as 20 operators, 5 maps, 4 of which haven't been shown to the public yet, and we were allowed to record it all. So let's take a look at how the latest build of Rainbow Six Siege is shaping up. After coming in and getting set up, we were given some hands-on time with the game in all of its core modes of play. Our day started off with the single-player content. Now I was really anxious to get my hands on it and see how it's changed since the last time I saw it during the Road to Montreal event. We couldn't talk about what we saw in single-player then, but now we're able to share it with you. Overall, it's a much-needed improvement to the way the mode was originally a few months ago. At the time, the single-player was little more than challenges that were easily finished and didn't have any substance to them, taking only a few minutes to complete per challenge. Now each mission serves a purpose of getting you familiar with a specific operator who is predetermined based on the mission that you're playing. Though we were allowed to play 5 of these situations, there will be 11 on launch, 1 for each map in the game. If the purpose of these are to teach you how to use each operator, then I'm not sure why there aren't a full 20, giving you 1 for each playable character. True, there's only 11 maps, but if you give it a night variation of each, then you'll double the count, and it hardly matters if you do the same level twice, so long as each mission is tailored to the specific operator. Also new since the last time I had hands-on with single-player content are all new cutscenes that precede each mission and talk about the situation you're about to engage in and the operator you'll be using. Once in-game, you'll face the familiar mix of killing all the bad guys, getting the hostage out, or other base objectives. But the maps are tailored to take advantage of your operator's abilities, so you can really learn how to use their various gadgets. Each situation also includes these star challenges. While these are pretty cool and add some incentive to replay if you don't manage to get them all, I don't think there's enough of them. There's 3 star challenges in each map, and most of them aren't really difficult. I'd like to see more of them for each map, and some ones that are truly hard to pull off in addition to some of the easier ones would be nice. Some other objectives to deal with would also be welcome. Things like getting the black box from the plane, or putting a tracking bug on a vehicle in the loading dock, or some other things like that would just mix things up a bit and feel more like the older Ravenshield mission structure, where you had a very few specific objectives to complete besides just killing the bad guys. Defusing the bomb or dealing with the hostage are fine, but across all the specific operator missions there needs to be something a little bit more, so it doesn't just feel like a terrorist hunt variation. All in all, the single-player mode was certainly more fun than it was the last time I saw it. With a little more polish, it might be a fairly decent experience, as long as it's given a bit more variety and replayability. Even though it's intended to be the solo experience, it can be played co-op too, though we didn't do this, so I'm not sure how effectively that plays out. Our next event was Terrorist Hunt. This continues to be my favorite way to play Rainbow Six and is lots of fun. There are a total of 4 different variations on Terrorist Hunt. Terrorist Hunt Classic is the mode that we played in the beta. It's pretty straightforward, just kill all the bad guys. Bomb Defusal Hunt is a mode which places 2 bombs to be disarmed in the map in addition to dealing with terrorists. As you disable the bombs, waves of terrorists will come at you and try to assault your position, until it's completed, and then you find the next objective and do the same thing there. Hostage Rescue is just what it sounds like. Find the hostage and extract him to the safe zone. In the meantime, the AI terrorists will be trying to get in your way to prevent you from doing so. And then there's the defensive-only terrorist hunt mode, where you can take the defensive operators and set up a position under siege as you fend off waves of incoming terrorists. Here we're playing on the plane map, as we try to keep the bomb diffuser out of enemy hands. Each mode of terrorist hunt manages to feel distinct from the other modes of play, and offers an exciting challenge. My personal favorite is Hostage Rescue, especially when played lone wolf. Once you grab the hostage, the AI really tries to prevent you from getting him to the extraction zone. You have a running fight on your hands as they try to intercept you on the way. And this highlights an extremely cool thing about this latest build of the game. We're finally starting to run into terrorists outside of the structure, and it completely changes the way it feels as a result. The game feels so much more complete when these moments happen. The bad thing is I only seem to be encountering it on hostage rescue missions for the most part. But in Bomb Defusal Hunt, I just wasn't encountering guys outside that much again. On some of the single-player missions that were centered on the classic hunt mode, I ran into maybe 1. It seems like only Hostage Rescue mode is allowed to let the terrorists outside to play with any degree of reliability. Hopefully that gets opened up even more, because being able to take guys out on the approach and having to be careful as you come up to the structure changed the feel of the game in great ways when it did happen. Bombers have also been balanced. In the beta, they were really unforgiving and overly aggressive. You could reliably bait them out and cause them to rush into ambushes because their aggression actually made them kind of stupid. They're still the toughest guys on the map to be sure, but they finally feel balanced. They no longer use aggro rushing tactics and can't really be baited out like they used to. They seem a bit slower, but not too much that it's overdone. Just enough that they're now a challenge without being either too easy or too unfair. The final part of the day was spent playing some player versus player. The biggest change here were the additional 6 operators. I'm really glad that we're able to show them here together for the first time publicly, and you can see how they're really meant to be played. I won't spend too much time talking about them as I'll be doing individual operators in depth over the coming weeks. One interesting thing is the operator icons have been completely redesigned. They're color-coded by CTU now, and have a unified art design, unlike the original icons. They're going to take some getting used to. I definitely found myself confused while playing, trying to remember who was who as I was more used to the old icons and trying to remember what the new ones meant. The best thing about playing PvP was getting to do it on the new maps. Canal is easily my favorite. It's an absolutely gigantic map with a gritty industrial feel. It has 2 main buildings connected by a skywalk. There's multiple levels of elevation here, and it's probably the most vertical of the maps. I also enjoyed Chalet quite a bit as well. This remake of an older Rainbow map has a fun layout and really interesting exterior areas with the snow. The farm compound and the biker club have good layouts, but I found their texture palettes to be too similar. They're both overwhelming tones of brown wood and brick, and I don't think the textures manage to stand out from each other between these 2 maps very well. I can show you footage from each of those maps interchangeably, and you might be hard-pressed to tell the difference sometimes. It'd be nice to see some other textures used, like wallpaper drywall or carpeted flooring. It's almost like the developers are afraid we won't know what's a breachable surface if it's not brown wood everywhere. The overall size of these new maps are great. With the exception of the plane map, each of them are roughly at least the same size as the consulate map from the beta, or even bigger. The amount of tactics that this opens up in ways that you can approach the other team, or ways to set ambushes or use a roamer or two are really interesting. Other than some repetitive color palettes and textures across the maps, the level design here is really good. I love seeing the subtle snowfall on Chalet, and the addition of some more weather effects would be nice to see. Player on Player is a very polished experience, and is a lot of fun. This is the flagship mode and you can tell. There's not much to expand on here. It's good. Some people may find the limitations of the operator system too restrictive. Others might really get into the metagame that comes from deciding who will be on your team when entering the field of play. The co-op experience is fantastic and offers tons of replayability. It does a really great job of capturing the spirit of older Terra Sun experiences from other Rainbow games, but then improves on the formula by offering 4 variations of the mode with random playlists and random placement of things like traps, barricades, and AI placement. This gives you a different experience every time you play. Single player is something of a disappointment due to this being the first Rainbow title without a properly fleshed out campaign. And yet on the other hand, it's at least offering something when compared to other multiplayer-centric titles like Titanfall or Evolve. Single-player missions still fall a little short of its potential to be something greater than it currently is. By adding more missions for the remaining 9 operators, more star challenges, or more secondary objectives, this could be enough to make it go from not bad to pretty good, as long as you're able to look past the lack of team AI and planning phases from older Rainbow titles in the series. That's a sneak peek at the latest full build of the game. In the coming weeks, I'm going to be really increasing the amount of content coming out, with lots of exclusive footage and information you won't find anywhere else. I'll be doing each of the 20 operators as individual episodes, with all of their latest updated info and best class loadouts, as well as tips and tricks for getting the most from them. Additionally, I'll be profiling Let's Play sessions as I go through the various single-player missions and share that footage and commentary with you. Next week, I'll be putting up my exclusive interview with Rainbow Six Siege animation director Scott Mitchell for some exclusive insights into the game as we get closer to launch. We'll also be going in-depth with each of the maps from the beta to get you ready for launch as we get closer. There will be a few other things mixed in as well. There's going to be lots of exclusive content coming over the next several weeks as we ramp up to launch. So make sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss anything as we take you in depth. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you next time.